What is going on, everybody? My name is Japes, and welcome to episode number 100 of my Path to Power. We finally hit the century mark, which is pretty incredible. A very long-standing series on my channel, and I know many of you guys are here because of this series, so thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking it out this long. Today, what I'm going to kind of be getting into is I'm going to talk about my own actual real-life football career and maybe a few of the differences between football here in the States and football abroad, and how that, I guess, tied into my career. So I will go ahead and just jump straight into it as we get on into the first match here. So when you're a young kid over here in the States, there's not so much of a recognition of a very competitive football scene. And I'm talking about mainly people play in church leagues and other little rec leagues that are by their house. It starts as co-ed and then you move on to just guys. And I did that, and I played with a very, very good young team, and we stuck together until I was, I want to say maybe 10 or 11, something like that. And that's a wonderful shot there from Wesley Schneider. We'll actually watch that back. But I stuck with that rec league for a very, very long time. To get a bit of fun out there, and my team stuck together for a while, and we were eventually told by the league that we would have to disband because we were winning too many games. And at this point, I was a striker. Yes, indeed, I was a goal scorer, and I wasn't exactly stellar with my feet, but I was good in and around the box, I guess, in terms of just finishing. As good as an 11-year-old, I guess, can be. But when I turned, I think it was 12, I got told or asked to go try out for one of the local club teams around here, and I was not ready for that at all. Not in the sense that I wasn't good enough, but my mindset was just not up for it. I made the team, but I did not want to travel on the weekends. I didn't want to go to multiple practices during the week. I wanted to keep things nice and easy. Didn't really see the big picture of what football could be. In the States, it's not one of those, at least then, it wasn't one of those things where it was like, oh my gosh, check out this game that's going to be on this Saturday, or, watch the men's national team that's going to be lighting up the stage. You didn't really have as big of a presence as, I guess, soccer has now in the States today as it was then. This is, mind you, quite some years ago, because I am 25 years young. So I made the first team, and it was in one of the lower divisions. And in the States, you don't get paid to play until you are a professional. It's just not the way things work over here. So I know, my brother spent a year abroad in high school, and he was in Germany, and he played on like a lower team somewhere in the Munich area, but he still got paid based on his performances, or based on the practices and the games and all that stuff. So he was getting paid to play even at a pretty young age. Mind you, that young age is probably 16 or 17. But in the States, at that point, you'd still be playing what we have as club football and high school football. So high school is, I don't know, for high school, your ages are generally 14 to 18. And you play that either in the spring or fall, depending on where you're located in the States. It's kind of climate-based, so odds are if you're up north, they're going to be doing it in the fall. And if you're down south, they will be doing it in the spring. So I played high school in the spring, and I played club football in the fall. And what that essentially boiled down to is my parents would shell out quite a bit of cash to put me on this traveling club team so that I could travel all over Georgia, all over Tennessee, all over South Carolina, all over Florida, and even some into Alabama and North Carolina. And those are essentially the surrounding states throughout Georgia. And it's, I guess it's because it was, that's at the highest level. You've got to be traveling around to play all these competitive matches. It was called the Region 3 Premier League, which each state is going to have, well, then it was Classic 1, Classic 2, A, B, and C, all the way down are the levels, top to bottom, how it goes. And so I started, when I started originally transferring over from rec, I played for I think it was a Premier B team, which was just terrible. And I did not want to even be doing that. The commitment was not there. I did not see the end goal. I just wanted to be out there having fun at that point. I was still playing competitive tennis. I wanted to get into playing actually American football, even though my parents would never, ever have that. They refused to let me play. Because they just figured that I would get injured and it conflicted with my soccer season, so on and so forth. But I, played for that team for a little while and was like, forget it. I think I quit halfway through that season. I just didn't have the drive, and I went and I played for a traveling rec team, which is essentially a cross between the really competitive stuff and just the regular recreational stuff. You kind of just start on the team. There's some really, there's some solid kids and there's some really bad kids, so it's more for getting out there and having a good time with it than actually playing competitive. But I ended up moving and went to tried out for another competitive team the next year and made that team as well. And progressed with that team because the club was going through a huge overhaul, and they ended up only fielding one team for my age group that year, and they put us, I think, in Premier B. And we went up season after season, B to A, to Classic 2, to Classic 1, and eventually all the way up to the R3PL, or the Region 3 Premier League. And basically the regions just break down for where you are in the States. So, the Southeast region, which is where I am, was Region 3 at the time. I'm not sure if it's changed. I really haven't kept up with it at all. So eventually went through all of that, and I started as a striker, which was cool. I was, loving that, and I thought, this is great. I'm scoring goals. And then I moved back to kind of a holding midfielder, and was like, okay, I can get on board with this. I do like tackling people. I like, hitting people. I like passing it about. I like taking a shot here or there. I'm okay with that. And then slowly but surely, the next thing I knew, I was playing center back. And at first, I could not believe it. I was furious with my coaches. I was, of course, once you've gotten a taste for scoring goals or getting up the pitch, you're like, why am I playing back here? This is just awful. But I slowly began to realize that as a center back, you have the opportunity to make tackles and keep your team in the game just as strong and as well as you would scoring a goal as a striker, because you're going to give your team that extra chance to get that goal that's going to put you in the lead. And so I started to buy into this concept, and being a bit of wanting to be a bit of a dictator, I suppose, I realized that I could boss a lot of the game from this center back spot. And so I kind of took quite a liking to it. And in the States, we play a lot of times with youth teams, there's sweeper-stopper setups, which essentially is you take your two, a left center back, right center back, and you stack them one in front of the other. So one of them plays in front, and whose main job is to either mark if there's a center striker or break up the play as it's coming through the middle. And the sweeper's job is to rotate around and clean up anything that gets in behind the defense to read the game, and make sure that the other team really isn't getting in behind you at all. And so that was my job. And was a very cautious player when I was younger. I didn't want anybody to get in behind me. Forget about the offside strap. That is nothing that I ever wanted to have to deal with. I didn't trust my left back and my right back were going to step at the same time. But I ended up taking a liking to this team, and I actually made my freshman year of high school, I made the varsity team. And making the varsity team as a freshman, it's kind of a big deal here in the States. I was a 14-year-old kid out there playing football with, 18-year-old guys that have been doing it for 4 years and are far more advanced. And not only did I get to make the team, but I managed to win the starting job as a sweeper, which was a pretty big deal. And still, I think to this day at my high school, I've started more games than anybody has, starting all the way from my freshman year through my senior year. I think our best finish in high school was finishing fourth or runner-up in the state. I can't remember how far. I think it was fourth in the state, or third in the state maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. We lost in the Final Four, so I don't know where that puts us. But I took a liking to it, and I started to get a little bit of attention from colleges here. And it was nothing that I ever planned on doing. But in the States, your parents essentially pay for you to play competitive football so that you can get a scholarship to college. The goal is not to go professional. The goal is to get college paid for, because in the States, a lot of times, colleges are going to cost you, if you're out of state, anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. And I'm not sure what that is in pounds, but or in euros even for that matter, I don't know, divide by 2, upwards of 20,000 euros probably, or maybe 15 to 20,000 euros, somewhere in that range, which is kind of expensive. And so parents, they pay for this year in and year out, hoping that you're going to get a scholarship to save them, $100,000+ worth of collegiate fees and dues, and you can get your education all taken care of and paid for. And so I started to get attention from some of these colleges, and it started to click like, oh, this is why I've been playing competitively so long. Mind you, I have a competitive nature to begin with, and there would be no Air Japes or no me on Xbox Live or on video games if it were not for Xbox Live. I do not care at all to play against the AI in just about any game that it is. I love the teamwork aspect, which is why I absolutely love playing pro clubs. I love the competition that I'll get from 1v1 single matches, and that's part of the reason why I like playing COD games and stuff, because to do well, you really have to work with your teammates. And that's essentially the main reason that I play or started playing video games heavy. So I started getting attention from some of these colleges, and I was like, I don't really want to play, and I kind of want to go to school and I want to party, and I know I got to get good grades. And essentially what it boils down to for those of you guys that are looking at going into college, you're going to be able to do 2 of 3 things really well. And if you can do all 3 things really well, hats off, good for you. But you can do 2 of these three things really well. You can have an incredible social life, party your brains out, meet tons of girls, have a great time with those smart girls, and that's 1. Number 2 is excel at school and have very good grades, get dean's list, things of that nature, set yourself up for grad school, all of these things. And the third thing is you can play a sport very competitively or play on a serious collegiate team. And I wanted to essentially, what it boiled down to is I wanted to party more than anything, and I knew that I was going to have to keep up good grades. So I thought, hey, I'm going to skip out on these D1 schools that are after me, and I'm going to go to a D3 school that's got just as good of a quote-unquote merit scholarship, which essentially is a scholarship for academics and athletics all wrapped up in one. And I said, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go have a great time, and I'm going to do all 3. And essentially, the school I chose, I should have done more research into it. The coach was like, I don't really want to start defenders, freshman defenders, you don't trust it. But by the end of the season, I was able to get a starting berth finally at right back, which was bizarre to me, but all in the same, I was just happy to be out on the pitch. But I was partying my ass off like you would not believe. And eventually, my grades started to slip. You can do 2 of 3 very well. And so at the end of the year, I deemed it necessary that I needed to essentially take a break from school and, take a little bit of time away from it. What I ended up doing is I ended up transferring. And at the school that I transferred to, I ended up not playing football, which I did not realize I was going to miss until it was done and dusted. I ended up playing on the club team a little bit, didn't really like it, and so I had to get this football fix that I now had in me that I didn't fully realize was there while I was playing. Because, when you're playing at school, you're still practicing 3 hours a day. You get it every day. You don't realize you're missing it, and you all of a sudden have this massive chunk of time once you stop playing. And so I started playing FIFA. Or games in general. It was Halo and it was FIFA back in the day for me. And next thing I knew, I started to be, semi-decent at FIFA, which I guess that kind of concludes some of what my football career is. I don't know, I always played IMs heavy on whatever the real competitive club IM team was. And IM stands for intramurals, and so won the intramurals at a couple of the colleges that I've attended. But I started playing FIFA real heavy, and the next thing I knew, I think it was FIFA 9, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but I was ranked like number 7 in the States on just the leaderboards right within 2 weeks of the game coming out. And so I was like, wow, maybe I'm good at this. And I didn't realize people posted videos. I would just always play, my football buddies that also played FIFA quite heavily. And when I say football, I'm referring to, soccer, all the same. You guys got the picture by now. I'm tailoring it. I don't want to call it soccer too much, even though the word does come from England, but we're not going to get into that for the time being. So I started playing FIFA heavy, and Xbox Live, I realized I could get some of this, competitive nature that was in me out. And so that's essentially why I guess I started playing FIFA, how my football career ties into FIFA. I always try to play it exactly like I would have tried to play it in real life until I learned how to skill somewhere in FIFA 10-ish area. And I was like, wow, doing all these skill moves is actually kind of fun. And I started incorporating them into clubs on FIFA. And as soon as I had discovered clubs, that was the only game mode that I wanted to play in FIFA 10. And there's a large portion of people that play FIFA that will buy the game solely for clubs. And these people are also unaware, for the most part, of the YouTube community, or the YouTube community that's blossomed now since, gosh, I started doing this just over a year ago. And it's absolutely incredible to think where things have gone now to this point. And so I think the community is going to keep getting bigger. It's very cool. It's a very cool community to be a part of. I'm just going with this commentary, letting you guys in a little bit more. It is Pat to Power episode 100, and you guys have seen, I don't know, all sorts of crazy gameplay and know where we are in the background at this point. But that's essentially how I got seriously involved with FIFA. It actually came about through my real world, I guess, footballing career. Nowadays I play in the, what is it, Atlanta Amateur League, or I don't know the actual abbreviation for what it's called. But it's a relatively competitive league. We had our first small-sided tournament, like preparation thing for the league this past weekend. Actually got a hat trick in one of the games. Was really, really excited for that, especially as a center back. You know that if your team's not scoring goals, it's your job to get up there, as any good center back would, and think that you should be scoring goals. I got a little David Luiz in me from time to time, but in a small-sided 7v7 is what I think the game's where it's very easy to get forward, overlap, and take some free space and get a shot off. Anyways, guys, we are coming to a close here. Well, not quite to a close here, but we're ending this episode of my Path to Power. I did a FIFA Let's Prepare for FIFA 13 yesterday, letting you guys know what to do with your FIFA 12 Ultimate Team coins when there is going to be no more FIFA 12 Ultimate Team. So you might want to check that out. The link will probably be down in the description below. Also, should have a new microphone coming. I went ahead and got one of those, what are they, Blue Yetis or something along those lines. They came highly recommended to me. So hopefully I will be sounding a bit crisper and clearer in the very near future. I want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you for your continued support. My channel has now reached over 50,000 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. I will be doing the full-on cribs house tour setup video. That will probably be released this weekend. I like releasing stuff like that on the weekends. That way I feel like, you know, everybody can watch it at their leisure, and it's not clouded by all of the other spam that I give you guys during the week. Anyways, this is the end of it. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy it, a like or a thumbs up is always greatly appreciated. My name is Japes, and I will catch you all next time.